Are you ready to continue a real discussion about vaccines? I'm Dr. AK with the Whole Human Health and Wellbeing. I'm a board-certified emergency medicine and lifestyle medicine physician, and I focus on treating the whole human, keeping you healthy on the inside and healthy on the outside to keep you out of the emergency department. And we are going to get into more real discussions, transparent discussions about vaccines. We have talked a lot about vaccines. And so today what I want to do is I kind of want to go through some myths and facts about the flu and measles vaccine. Now, I've mentioned some of these things in other posts, but today I'm going to consolidate all of them here in one spot. There are a lot of things out there in social media. I don't have every single thing that I found, but I did pick the things that are most prevalent. There's still a lot. I have them written down. I have a cheat sheet here to look off of in terms of discussing the different items. So without further ado, number one, measles is a live vaccine. Fact, this is true. So wild type is the strain of vaccine that exists out in the community. The measles vaccine is basically wild type that got the crap kicked out of it. And so it's super, super weak and it can't really do anything on its own. In fact, it's so weak, you need to get it injected into you in order for your immune system to see it, to develop immunity. So it is a live vaccine. That's also why people who have weakened immune systems, like have HIV or AIDS, or a myriad of different conditions that we're not going to get into, they cannot get the vaccine because it is a live vaccine. Which leads me to number two. You can catch measles from someone who just got the measles vaccine because it's a live vaccine. Myth. That is absolutely not true. Like I just said, that virus is so weak, you literally need to get it injected into your body in order to be exposed to it. Otherwise, we would give someone a measles shot and have them walk into a room and breathe on a bunch of other people to also give them weakened measles. So that's not a thing. All right, next. Measles can cause birth defects. So this is a fact. This is true. Measles is one of the microorganisms that are called a torch organism. You can Google this. You can look up torch organisms. There's a handful of different conditions that are out there that if a pregnant woman catches the condition and she has no protection against it, it can cause a birth defect in the child. Toxoplasmosis is one of them, right? That's the T for the torch. That's why pregnant women are not supposed to be changing cat litter, because you can get toxoplasmosis. So an unvaccinated pregnant woman who then catches measles while pregnant, yes, that can cause birth defects in the child. All right, next, vitamin A cures measles. Myth, that is false. Now, vitamin A is helpful in measles. It just doesn't cure it. What vitamin A does is it prevents blindness. That's one of the things. So measles can cause this really, really thickening of the cornea on your eyes. That's kind of like a little skin area that's right over your pupil where the light comes in to be able to see. And that can get so thick, people can go blind. It can also affect the retina in the back of your eye, so you can go blind. So vitamin A prevents retinopathy and it prevents that thickening of the cornea. It does not cure measles. Now, we do know there is some data out there that says if your vitamin A levels are low, you may catch it easier if you're not vaccinated, and or you may have a higher chance of dying from it if you're not vaccinated. So low vitamin A levels can allow you to get super sicker, apparently, according to the data, but it will not cure you. So if you're not vaccinated and then you take a bunch of vitamin A, it's not going to cure your measles. The other issue to know about vitamin A, so vitamins A, D, E, and K are all fat-soluble vitamins. That means that you can actually develop a toxicity from them. It's not like some of the other water-soluble vitamins. Water-soluble vitamins, if you get too much of them, you just pee them out. That's not the case with A, D, E, or K. So taking a whole bunch of vitamin A can put you at risk for toxicity as well. So that's the whole vitamin A measles thing. All right, what do I have written down next? Oh, flu vaccine does not prevent flu. That is true. That is a fact. That is not the point of the flu vaccine. I mean, while we really want it to prevent illness, and it does in some cases, depending on how well they are at predicting the strain. So let me back up for a second. So the Northern Hemisphere and the Southern Hemisphere flip-flops flu season. And what we try and do is we try and predict what is the strain that is going to be coming into the hemisphere next. So right now, we are in flu season. So the Southern Hemisphere is looking at our strains, and what they're trying to do is predict how is the influenza virus going to shift by the time it gets down there for their flu season. And then that's what the vaccine is designed from. So depending on how well they are at predicting what the strains are, that determines how well you will not get the flu from the vaccine. Now, that being said, some parts of the virus are similar no matter what. So you do develop a little bit of immunity in the sense that you won't get a really severe illness. So really the point of the flu vaccine is to prevent deaths and hospitalizations. People who are younger than 5, greater than 65, have any number of this long list of medical problems, or pregnant, all of these individuals are at higher risk for flu complication, the most serious of which is a pneumonia, and it's a devastating pneumonia. So the reason to get the flu vaccine is to prevent the severity of illness, but chances are you're still going to get flu. I do every year, but I feel sick for maybe a day and a half, and then I'm right back to normal. So that's why we get the flu vaccine. All right, flu is harmless. Flu is not harmless. So like I just said, there is a certain population of individuals that are at higher risk of having severe influenza. But the years that we have swine flu or avian flu, that kind of goes out the window a little bit, and totally healthy, 35 to 40 to 50-year-olds can get pretty devastating flu. So far this year with flu, just in the United States, you can go on the CDC and they have this thing called, I think it's Flu Watch or Flu Surveillance, and you can see what all the data points are. So far, when I last looked, we've had 37 million cases of influenza in the United States, 480,000 hospitalizations, and 21,000 deaths. Less than 100 of those deaths have been pediatric. I think the last time I looked, it was 98 were pediatric deaths, and all the rest were adults. So flu is not harmless. The other thing you need to know about flu is it costs money to take care of sick people with flu, right? And when you get flu, you're not working, right? When your child gets flu, they can't go to daycare, you can't go to work. So you add all of these things up, and the cost of flu was estimated, it was a paper that came out in 2018, 11.2, I think it was billion a year. Yeah, $11.2 billion a year. So, flu is not only harmful to us health-wise, but economically, it doesn't have a good look. All right, what do I have next? Oh, and this is going to be the last one. Flu and measles are aluminum-containing vaccines, and this is harmful. So this is a myth. Yes, some vaccines do contain aluminum, like tetanus is one of them. There's a handful of other ones that do as well. The reason that vaccines contain things like aluminum or, what's it in Europe? It's calcium phosphate, I think. These are called adjuvants. So if you just get some kind of vaccine, that antigen, which is what your body is trying to see to develop immunity against, it can just spread all over the place. So things like aluminum are used to allow the antigen to stick around longer. And so flu and measles, they're not ones that use aluminum. There is some data out there that maybe aluminum can cause some additional problems, like some of these inflammatory things. I looked into it. I don't know that there is enough there to say, yes, for sure, aluminum causes those problems. But I can say when it comes to measles and flu, they don't even have aluminum in them in the first place. So you don't need to have those worries. And I lost my beautiful logo in the background, but that's okay. So those are kind of the facts and myths that I wanted to go over. I mean, some of these things that are out there are true, and some of these things are absolutely 100% not true. So it's important to know the difference, and it's important to have all of this information so that you can make a choice. And yes, it is true. Getting vaccinated is your choice, and I do believe that. But I also think you have to understand there are consequences with choices. So if you're not vaccinated against something and you're upset that you can't participate in something or go somewhere, I mean, vaccination is a public health issue. And so while you do have every right to make your own choice, you do have to also understand that you may not be able to do the same activities and participate in things the same way as other people who are vaccinated. So these are all choices. We're allowed to make choices. I hope that I've helped kind of clarify some things for you with kind of this whole vaccine series that I did. You can come back to the videos anytime. You can read the blog. It is published on March 9th. So it'll be in a couple days from this recording, but I don't know when you're going to watch it. So you can go on to From Dr. AK's Desk on my website, www.thewholehumanhealthandwellbeing.com. You can follow the YouTube channel that I've created for these kind of video blogs. You can follow Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. I am happy to look into things and really get down to the facts. Like, what is that information? And I'm happy to have discussions. I'm not going to shut you down if you disagree with me, but you also have to be willing to have an open conversation about these things. So stay healthy. You know, we're almost through the winter. Spring is coming, so RSV is a thing. You know, watch out for that. But then after that, it'll be the summertime. We can be outside and, you know, worry about allergies, which is another thing. No vaccines for that. No controversy there. Take care, everyone. Stay healthy.